And now we revisit the story of the family whose life was abruptly canceled. One of the funniest shows of all time, Arrested Development, was ended by Fox in 2006, but the cult hit has been picked up by Netflix for 15 highly anticipated semi-original episodes. It's one of the most anticipated releases, and definitely Netflix's most anticipated release of this year. So Vegas, does Arrested Development's fourth season live up to the hype?
I really think at this point it's impossible for it to live up to hype. I mean, it's at such a level, and it's still so crazy that it's came back after all this time, that it's really difficult to live up to the hype. But having said that, I really think it comes back with a strong fourth season. It tries something new, it does something original, and I think taken as a whole, it really is solid as a season of Arrested Development.
For me, I took all the hype with a grain of salt because I knew that it wasn't going to be exactly what it was when it ended in 2006, but I knew it could be just as good in a different way, and I think that's what we ended up getting, so for me it did live up to the hype.
You know, I agree 100% with Michaela. You can't really go back to it expecting exactly what we had before on Fox. This is a completely different medium, meant to be viewed in a completely different way. And I think that, Mitch Hurwitz and the whole team did a real good job of presenting us with something fresh.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is that this is a Netflix show. This isn't a Fox show or any other network show. And they're not dealing with you air an episode, you wait a week, and you air another one. All 15 came out at once, and they know that. And you can tell they made the content to be binge-watched. While it might be good to give it some space at times, the rewatch value is so high, and although the first 3 seasons of Arrested, you could say that they're better on the rewatch, this is, I think, the first time that there's ever been anything that's like mandatory rewatch material. You don't get the full experience unless you've seen it twice.
I think the thing that really, a lot of reviewers were coming out and saying they really didn't like this new season, and I think the reason for that is the binge watching. Now, I know a lot of people will disagree with me that it wasn't made, but I would argue that it's not particularly made for binge watching on your first time through, because in a lot of the episodes, they recount events that happened in the episode just prior that you've already seen. It kind of feels like, all right, keep going. All right, get to the jokes.
Right.
There, now I'm laughing. But I feel like if you give it a bit of a time, maybe a week or like 3 days at least, to just digest one episode of like, oh, that was really great, then watch the next episode and you get a better appreciation for the previous episode. But I think a lot of the opening reviews, they had a lot of that repetition, and I felt like that slogs you down even if you're a huge fan of this season. So I think that but I completely agree with you. It's definitely better on the second rewatch, and it's really great just to sit down and have all those episodes available to watch.
Just as a quick thing, how many times have you guys rewatched it at this point?
Between
Twice.
2 and 4.
Between 2 and 4.
Certain episodes.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you binge watch it, you get a little tired at the beginning because it feels exposition-y, and even Mitch Hurwitz, the creator of the show, said don't binge watch this because you'll get comedy exhausted and you won't pick up on some of the things, because Arrested Development does weave things together and throw in small things that you're going to be finding throughout your rewatches. So you definitely do maybe miss some things and maybe get a little tired, especially in the first few episodes. I know my least favorite of the season was George Sr.'s first episode, because
Which was the second one.
Yes, it was the second episode, and it was just pretty much pure exposition. There are funny things, there are funny characters introduced, but it felt really slow, and I think it really picks up around the 7th episode because the exposition stops and everything you've seen weaving together starts to really pay off.
Yeah, I think the 7th episode was really where the season kicks off. And if you watch the first 4 episodes and you're thinking, I had a friend who watched the first 4 episodes and he was like, this isn't really the same Arrested Development. I'd tell them to get to the 7th episode, because that's the episode where things really start to tie together. It's the first Job episode, and you know that's just going to be hilarious.
For me, it starts to come together a little more around the 4th episode, when we revisit Michael and we visited a little more of the family. But the structure where each episode is about a different person sort of makes it an odd watch, in that you're not jumping between storylines the way you did in the first 3 seasons, and I think it speaks to the idea that this is not the same show. It may have the same characters and the same talent, but we're watching a different type of project, a really great one, but one that shouldn't necessarily be held up against the original, and it could be considered just complementary. And I think they did a really good job in bringing it back. It still has the energy. There's a lot of really great callbacks. Like, there's a very small reference in one of I believe it's the first season episodes, where Lindsay says, well, I don't care about ostriches. Well, ostriches play a big role in the 4th season, and the wood block comes back and is a big feature of this season. It brings back jokes that big fans of Arrested Development should be really happy to see.
You know, there was one joke that didn't come back that I was a little disappointed at. Franklin.
That was my big
Where
problem
was
with the season.
Franklin?
It's my big issue with the entire season of Arrested
Like,
Development.
they reference everything, you know, from Anyang to the banana stand.
Even
to,
the chicken dance, even though no one did it.
chicken dances.
But
you know?
I think I have to credit the show for that because you take a lot of shows and they come back for that 4th season and they just bring back and they dredge up all the old material. It would have been so easy to do that because fans would have eaten it up and people would have loved that and it would have been Arrested Development. But they brought so much new stuff. They brought the Fantastic Four skit, which was great. They brought ostriches. They brought so many new things to the show.
Circle.
The Roofie Circle. They brought so many new jokes and so many new things that will be retold for the next few years that really speaks to the quality of the writing. They didn't just dredge up old
And
material.
in contrast to the 3rd season, it left me wanting a lot more. There's a lot more that's unresolved, and you really would. It's going to be a shame if they can't make any more of it. Whereas the 3rd season felt like an ending, an unsatisfactory ending, but an ending. Yeah, this one didn't really tie things up, which is okay. It's a fun watch, and I'm not itching to know what happens after the 15th episode, but we really should see some more Arrested Development, or I feel a little disappointing.
If the movie actually does come to fruition, we're caught up now.
Yeah.
You know, all that exposition doesn't have to be in the movie.
They did what they needed in the series.
So it would be a huge shame if the movie never came to be.
That does it for our discussion of Arrested Development. Be sure to click to subscribe above me for more from the Pretentious Film Majors. Stay tuned to our YouTube channel. You can also go to facebook.com/pretentiousfilmmajors, twitter.com/PFM show, or our official website, www.pretentiousfilmmajors.com.
You know the subscribe bar is below you now, right?
Yeah, but I put an annotation.
Oh, all right.
Chicha, 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 chicha.